Stephen, it's great to finally talk to you about a win, especially when it was a win which was such an important game.
Yeah, agreed. Recent run of form hasn't been good enough, and yeah, we needed to sort of reverse that trend. So yeah, it was good to see us actually do our jobs and win a game of football.
And deservedly win it as well. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you take your chances and you keep the ball out your net, you know, you get what you deserve. Yeah, I've got no more to add on that. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other pleasing thing was it was a much improved performance as well, because, you know, Lordswood had obviously clearly targeted us, thinking that's a game they can win because of our recent form. They brought in some expensive signings, and from the start they went at us. But I thought we responded really well and more than matched them.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly, you know, I feel like all the teams in the bottom 8 are probably, you know, doing everything within their power to get themselves out of this relegation zone, because it's really tight down there, and you wouldn't even consider calling it even now. So fair play to them. If they had the resources available, they signed, you know, in Josh, Tunde and Lekan, they signed 3 very good forwards who, lucky us, they all got to make their debut against. I think I said to you, you know, whereas in contrast, we're sort of sitting there hoping that some of our players get through a cup final they're playing 24 hours earlier, but that's where we're at the moment. So yeah, I don't blame Lordswood for targeting us. You know, we were a team that had lost 5 games in a row and only scored 1 goal. For all the hard luck stories, they're the facts. So if I'm Lordswood, I'll be flipping targeting us as well. But thankfully, you know, we showed a bit of resilience and didn't allow that to happen.
The other thing that made a difference is you tweaked the formation, and you got two new players starting in Tom and Keanu. Plus, again, you got Jack Gallagher playing in midfield and doing the job. Great.
Yeah, centre midfield has been, you know, it's been an area that we've been particularly unfortunate in. Obviously, Shieldsy, Wolds had to step away. Riley's had to step away. Raw's is still suffering with his sort of fluid on his knee, even though he was there. He certainly wouldn't claim to be fit. So, yeah, that's best part of the midfield we started the season with gone. Harry is Mr. Versatile. I think he'd probably rather be playing up front, given half a chance, not other than. But Harry's a massive plus for us wherever we play him. And Jack, I'd put him in there against Lyd. Him and Hudson just seem to work well as a pair. Both comfortable on the ball, both good in the air, both honest, brave lads. So yeah, pleasing. I think that's quite a good partnership there.
Yeah, and I mean, what can you tell us about Tom and Keanu? Because they both made impressive debuts, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, both impressive. So Tom is a guy that I've known for years and years and years. He came to Crowborough as a teenager, and sort of tried to help him out the best I could, which thankfully I think he's remembered. He's obviously played in this league in the past, probably most notably with Kennington. Gone on, played step 3 for Hastings and Cray. Been at Ashford this season, had a little bit of a problem with a knee injury. So now he's just looking for game time. And obviously the one thing we can offer people is game time. So I'm fantastically grateful to him, because he could have earned a lot more money going elsewhere, but you know, he's come in and made a big difference. Keanu actually got in touch through the website. He's relocated from the Midlands and looking for a club. So yeah, I've had a couple of chats with him. He come and warmed up with us on Tuesday. I think he's a personality that fits us as a group, and even though he's possibly a little bit ring rusty, I think he'd admit, I think he'd done really well. Give us a bit more rigidity back there, didn't it?
It did. I thought it was much more solid.
Yeah, agreed.
All round, and you know, that included performances from the wing backs as well in that, because you know, I thought Brendan Austin had a good game.
Bren's been patient. So again, it's just another update for the supporters. Kazim Richards has decided that he's going to step away. Just the travelling, the commitment, obviously without getting paid, is just been sort of stretching him out. He has the opportunity to work rather than play. So yeah, I mean, as a personality, he's a really popular member of the group. So that hurt a little bit, but life goes on. Opportunity then gets provided for someone else, and Brendan certainly deserves the opportunity based on his commitment and his dedication. Maka back to left wing back, which is probably where he's played most of his best football. I said to him before the game, I said, like, just remember Rustall away. Just remember how fantastic you were there. Start of the season he was getting talked about as one of the brightest prospects coming through, and I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah. So despite all that good news, though, it was still the same, wasn't it? We started well, but then we go and give away another soft goal.
Terrible.
Yet again, but this time, unlike maybe other games, we did respond after we'd conceded, because it was a poor goal to concede, but good reaction.
Yeah, it was a horrendous goal to concede, and I guess that is a side that A, haven't played together too much, and B, are a little bit low on confidence. But I guess the test of a team is how they respond to something like that. And whereas in the past, I think you've physically seen people's body language look defeated, I didn't feel, I felt like actually it almost gave us a bit of a kick up the backside. And we didn't fold, which is really important, because I think we've looked really vulnerable when we've let one goal in the past. You almost feel like, like another one could come. But yeah, dug in, showed a bit of resilience. I thought it was a relatively even first game. I listened to the Lawswood guys being interviewed, and they felt they dominated the first half. They possibly had the clearer sights of goal, but actually I thought it was an even game. I thought possibly we even had more of the ball.
Yeah, I would have said the first 10 minutes, yes, they had the better of it. But after that, I thought we came into it and we probably had the better of the rest of that half.
Certainly a competitive half, whichever way you want to dress it up. So yeah, coming in at half time, 1-0 down, very disappointing. And we talked about, you're probably going to ask me that in a minute, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I won't steal your thunder.
No, but I'm saying, what did you do? Because you must have said something at half time, because we seemed to up our game, but also I think it helped that they stood up and gave us space and be challenged, which you can't give with when we've got likes of Reg and Festos, maybe like that. It helped. I mean, was that a deliberate change?
Yeah, it was. I think the danger we have sometimes, and this happened at Snodland away, to a point actually, it happened against Lyd as well. I think because Ivesy has been doing so well winning his headers, we become a little bit too direct. It's almost like, well, that's easy. And I think also because everyone's a little bit low on confidence, they'd rather get the ball away from our goal. And I thought in the first half, even though he was winning 90% of his headers, it was quite easy for Lawswood to drop 10 yards, let him win it, pick it up, and come back at us. So, just said, like, I feel like we need to try and play out a little bit shorter, get the ball under control, mix it up a little bit, and see if that draws them out. Because I think everybody knew the next goal was going to be really important, and actually they did sort of step onto us a little bit, trying to press us. We have got some good footballers, so we were able to play through a little bit, and both the goals sort of developed from that situation.
Yeah, because like I see, you mentioned both goals. When the first one, that change paid off so much for Reg. It was such a cracking. He just bent the ball. And it was just such a great goal. The keep, Aaron in goal for them just didn't stand a chance.
No, on the first one, yeah. I mean, again, I think we drew them out. We made a few passes. We got a little bit of yardage up the pitch. Played it into midfield. Midfield set it back to Jim. Jim's hit one of those diags that he's really good at. Because we'd had a little bit of time to build, our wing back on that side had been able to get a bit higher. He was then able to, literally great first touch from Jim's diag. He's cushioned it back to Reg. And yeah, Reg has finished, which, I think Reg has been feeling the pressure because, he hadn't scored for a few games. I think he carries that sort of burden on his shoulders a little bit for us because we're not, we haven't got a Trev anymore. So yeah, I think you could see the relief from everyone. You start thinking, are we ever going to score? Are we ever going to win? the only way you change that narrative is to be persistent.
I think you're right about that relief and everything, because it was really decisive. Because from that, the next 10 minutes, especially after we scored, their confidence went and they were panicking,
Yeah,
and we were just attack after attack.
yeah,
And you're thinking it's going to come, and it did finally. It came, and again it was almost identical goal, but an even better finish. And I think it was with Reggie's left foot as well.
yeah. It was Reggie's left. I think momentum in football is so key. I mean, you look at the league game. In all honesty, we're 1-0 up. We're cruising, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but we are. We're cruising. Fezzi's missed that one-on-one. I'm not going to keep going on about it, but it's a massive, massive chance. Fees then gets sin-binned. Reg then goes through one-on-one and misses. And you just see Lid almost thinking, this lot ain't going to finish us off. And we, you know, and the momentum just swings. And then before you know it, we look like, you know, we lose 3-1, you know, for a 10-minute spell. And I think Lawswood were a little bit the same. You know, you've got a team that have, I don't want to get this wrong, and I don't want to be disrespectful. I think they only won once in 10 games. If that's wrong, but it was quite a bad run of form. And I guess they start, you know, they lose their fragile lead, and then their confidence takes a little bit of a knock. You know, they had at least 3 guys making their debut. You haven't got that integration and that sort of connected mentality sometimes. And we were able to capitalise.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what was absolutely massive. It was the away support. You know, it might not have been the biggest number of you guys that's ever travelled, but it's one of the loudest, and it made such a difference. You just feel like there's people out there with you.
I think that helps because we had something to sing about.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's chicken and egg.
Yeah,
But it really did help.
yeah,
Even like because we now got the ref, because it felt like the ref was against us, which again just gives you that bit more fight that you want to come on.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, again, they were Lawswood were fighting for their lives. I could feel the passion coming from their management team, because we all put so many hours of our lives into this, and it was a bit of a battle of wills. But yeah, I thought once that goal went in, we had a really good. In fact, you know what? I think the whole second half, we were the side that were really forcing, dictating the tempo. Yeah, and
because I mean, you're saying about finishing it off and being the better team. I mean, the last 10 minutes, I don't know, maybe it's not quite 10 minutes, but they finally took the game to us at last and had to go back at us. Don't get me wrong, we were still having a go at them as well, but we managed the game out really well.
yeah.
There wasn't a threat at all,
No,
even though they were going at us. It felt like we nullified anything they did do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, you know, from what I remember, they had a few throw-ins. They had a guy with a long throw. And I guess after their luck in the first half, they probably found they had a couple of free kicks. At least one of which was very flipping dubious.
Yeah.
So territorially, you know, they started to get a few entries into our box, but there wasn't a lot of quality or precision or build-up about it. But I get that, you know, we've been there. Like it's.
Well, you say that, but I also think it was our defence was well organised and sorted.
They weren't really able to rip us apart, were they?
No.
It was more just rolling the dice, and I get that. Like if we were 2-1 down, we'd have done exactly
Especially
the
if you
same.
spend so much on a front line like they have.
Well,
You just lob it forward and get on with it, sort of thing.
I mean, they've recruited some proven footballers, so you're going to want to. Having said that, I think they might have all been subbed off by that point. I'm not totally sure again on that, but I'd be scratching my head if I was Lawswood, because you know, it means so much to the people that are involved. It's sort of consuming, and
Well, it does. I mean, it's great for us not to be scratching our head, which we have been after the last couple of games, where it's like, where did that result come from?
well, the key thing now is to make sure we're not scratching our head, because you know we've still got 5-6 games in hand of most, and we need more wins. Like there's no point thinking we've cracked it. You know, with the greatest respect, we've won 2-1 at the side who are now bottom of the league. So it's not get the flags out time.
That sets us up to talk about our next game with Preston, because that's going to be a really tough game. Again, we just have to hope we take this game into that one rather than the league game or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, hopefully it's restored a bit of confidence that the boys had, because you do start feeling, are we ever going to win, you know, etc., etc., all the sort of negative narratives that come with losing. The key thing is to stay positive, stay level-headed, stay balanced, understand that if you keep doing the right things, you know, if you're letting goals like that one we let in, you're decreasing the chance of winning a football match massively. So, you know, and actually, they had a one-on-one at 1-0 up, which the guy rolled wide of the post. And again, you know, it's fine margins sometimes, but we've hopefully built a little bit more self-belief back, because we've put the ball in the net, we've picked up 3 points, we've remembered what it's like to leave a ground with that sort of little bit of a buzz because you've won a game, and now we've got to build on it. Bearsted lost 4-0 to Lyd. So they're going to be smarting at that, and they're going to be, I wouldn't say looking over their shoulder, but I don't think they'll be thinking we're 100% safe here, because the boys at the bottom are really, and to be honest, you know, we've got to put ourselves in that bracket. No one's down in tools, and it's going to be a scramble right till the last day. So these games in hand, which I assume this is going to be one of them, we've got to start converting games in hand into points on the table.
Well, fingers crossed we do then.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cheers.
Cheers, mate.